This is the last video I will be sharing on creativity, manifestation, and sex. I feel I want to begin by reaffirming that it is essential for us to let go of the idea that there is something that we need to be doing. It is about growing and being, and the more we notice our thoughts and therefore what belief is informing that thought, and therefore what belief is informing how we are feeling, and therefore what feeling is informing how we are vibrating. That is our responsibility. The rest is about surrendering and being receptive and being a whole sexual being. When we allow our sex to move up and through us and to let go of what the resistance may be that keeps our sexual energy contained to our pelvic area and contained to the act of sex, when we can let go of that, then our sexual energy moves, and organically, because that's its truth. That is what our sexual energy was created for, so that we feel that energy that is contained, that we have contained to our pelvic area and the act of sex. We actually feel that coming through us. So Tantra is not about great sex, and there is a sadness that has become the understanding of it. Tantra is about a sexual evolution of our consciousness, to know ourselves, to understand ourselves as this vibrant, radiant sexual being. And yes, great sex shared with another is a byproduct of that. But first we have to allow our sex and all that has limited it, suppressed it, repressed it, contained it, to shift, so we can come into this expansive sexual consciousness, that sexual energy is actually expanding our mind and our experience and our being. When this happens, there is a radiance, a golden radiance that in some respects we can maintain and call in. So if you imagine ourselves as the sun, the radiant sun, there, what happens is this expansion creates a glow, a radiance of being. And when we're in that radiance of being, and that golden radiance of being, we then know ourselves as source. And this is a growing into, not growing into, a coming back to, because everything that is in the way of that, every untruth we have absorbed, every untrue belief that we've lived from and been unconsciously creating our life from has to move out of the way first, and then we know. And that knowing isn't know as in we've studied and studied and studied with our head, or gone to a million courses and workshops and gurus, and it's an individual evolution, and that has to be felt within us to be as truth, for us to have the knowing of it. When we feel source, when we have remembered, reconnected to ourselves as this creative, sexual, vibrant source, and therefore source as in whatever you choose to name it, the universe, God, life, love, the name doesn't matter, it's the felt sense, then we know that we are everything, and there is nothing that we cannot have or be or experience. I remember so clearly just being one day, and I heard, you can have everything. And at that time there was a wow, and a not in a I can have everything as in agreed, as in a material, but there was a real expansion. And if we know ourselves and feel ourselves and trust ourselves and have integrated and embodied this felt knowing as source, then there is nothing that we cannot have or be or create or experience. All the time, as I said in the other video, all the time things come up that are not in alignment with that truth, because they have to move out the way, they have to dissolve. So it's not our thoughts create our reality. It's the belief that is informing the thought, and the belief that is informing the feeling, and the feeling that is suppressing and limiting and restricting our fullest potential. And I don't feel there is any more to say, except I welcome your comments, and I welcome your questions with love.